Բարի լույս, մեծարգո պարոն նախարար, մեծարգո հյուրեր, տիկնակ եւ պարոնայք։ Այսօր մեծ պատիվ է ինձ համար, բոլորիս համար լինել այստեղ Սիլիկոնյան հովտում անցկացնելու հայաստանյան IT ֆորումը, որը նվիրված է Հայաստանի տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտի զարգացումներին եւ ապագա ծրագրերին։ Մեզ համար մեծ պատիվ է, մենք ունենք հյուրեր Միացյալ Նահանգների եւ Եվրոպայի տարբեր երկրներից, նաեւ հայկական պատվիրակություն եւ ուրախ ենք, որ մեզ հետ է նաեւ էկոնոմիկայի նախարարը։ Ես շատ ժամանակ չզբաղեցնեմ, ուղղակի կարճ ներկայացնեմ ինչ է մեզ սպասում։ Այսօր մենք ունենալու ենք 4 հիմնական պանելներ, որոնց ընթացքում կփորձենք առաջին հերթին ներկայացնել զարգացումները եւ հաջողությունները Հայաստանի տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտում, քննարկենք, թե ինչպիսի միջավայր է պետք ձևավորել, որպեսզի աջակցենք հայկական կազմակերպություններին եւ նրանց առաջընթացը համաշխարհային շուկաներում, հատկապես շեշտադրելով նորաստեղծ կազմակերպությունները, ինչպիսի ներդրումներ է պետք իրականացնել եւ ինչպիսի ներդրումային միջավայր է պետք պատրաստել Հայաստանում, որպեսզի Հայաստանի տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտը շարունակի զարգանալ եւ նաեւ դառնա ոչ միայն տարածաշրջանային, այլ համաշխարհային կենտրոններից մեկը, եւ չենք կարող այս ամենից բացի չխոսել նաեւ կրթության մասին, որովհետեւ կրթությունը այն հիմնական մարտահրավերներից է, որ մեզ սպասվում է, որպեսզի կարողանանք կատարել համապատասխան փոփոխություններ, որպեսզի նպաստենք ոլորտի զարգացմանը։ Ես շատ ուրախ եմ, որ մենք հնարավորություն ունենք նաեւ ոչ ֆորմալ շփումների, մեծ դալիճ ունենք սուրճի ընդմիջումների եւ ճաշի ժամանակ կարող ենք բոլորով իրար հետ քննարկել եւ շարունակել զրույցը եւ նաեւ պատիվ ունեմ էկոնոմիկայի նախարարի անունից բոլորի հրավիրելու ճաշի, որը կլինի 7:30 Westin St. Francis հյուրանոցում, որտեղ 2 ժամ հայկական երաժշտության ներքո մենք հնարավորություն կունենանք ընտրել եւ նաեւ իրար հետ հաճելի ժամանակ անցկացնել եւ շարունակել քննարկումները։ I want to once again thank you everybody for being here, and I am pleased to give the floor to Yervan Zorian for moderation of this panel. But before going to the first panel, I want to especially thank you, Government of Armenia, World Bank, for organizing this event. I want to thank you all our partners, ASEED, EIF, and others who are helping us for organization, and I want to give my special thanks to Synopsys for hosting us in this beautiful, amazing building. Thank you, Chifun. Yeah, we did this event in different places, in different universities, in different hotels, but I think this will be the best one. Ervan, please.
Sure. Good morning. Luis. First of all, welcome to Synopsys. I'm very pleased to host this meeting with us here. Many of you have visited the Synopsys site in Armenia, but probably it's your first time being in the Mountain View campus where the headquarters of Synopsys is. The first session that we'll be running together is entitled Recent Developments and Success Stories in Armenia. The IT sector in Armenia is not new. Many of you have been involved in it for at least 2 decades and on. What we have today, we have samples of our successes among us, and those samples do contain certain companies that were based in the US and moved to Armenia, moved some of its R&D to Armenia, and develops products and does research and development there continuously with certain level of successes. We have the other way around as well. We have companies that started in Armenia and moved to the US, and we'll hear about those as well. So we have certain samples. Of course, these are not complete sets. We'll see more complete stories in the following sessions as well. First of all, we'll start, though, with the government. Our first speaker will be the Honorable Minister of Economy, Mr. Azvik Minasyan, who has a background in the economy domain. He is also a lawyer by education. He has been with the government for some time. He has been a deputy minister before, member of the parliament, and recently, since last February, he is the Minister of Economy. We're very pleased to have you here, Mr. Minasyan. The floor is yours.
այսպես նորմալ է, չէ՞։
Շատ լավ է։ Ինչ բավարար չէ։ Perfect։
Հարգելի գործընկերներ, տիկնայք եւ պարոնայք, թույլ տվեք նախ եւ առաջ Հայաստանի Հանրապետության կառավարության անունից ողջունել Հայաստանի տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ֆորումի բոլոր մասնակիցներին։ Հայաստանի վարչապետի բարձր հովանի ներքո անցկացվող Հայաստան տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ֆորումը կարևոր հարթակ է ոլորտի վերջին ձեռքբերումները ներկայացնելու, գործարար կապերը ընդլայնելու եւ նոր նախաձեռնություններ իրականացնելու համար։ Հայաստանում վարվող տնտեսական քաղաքականությունը ուղղված է տնտեսական ակտիվության խթանմանը, մակրոտնտեսական կայունության ապահովմանը, ենթակառուցվածքների զարգացմանը նպաստող ներդրումային խոշոր ծրագրերի իրականացմանը, գործարար միջավայրի բարելավմանն ու գործարարության աջակցմանը։ Բարենպաստ ներդրումային եւ գործարար միջավայրը, բավարար ենթակառուցվածքների առկայությունը, արտահանման ընդլայնման ներուժ ունեցող ոլորտների զարգացումը ու այդ ոլորտներում առկա մրցակցային առավելությունները այն հիմնական գործոններն են, որոնք Հայաստանը գրավիչ եւ հետաքրքիր են դարձնում ներդրողների համար։ Ընդ որում Հայաստանն իրականացնում է բաց դռների քաղաքականություն, չկիրառելով գրեթե որևէ սահմանափակում ներդրումների նկատմամբ, ամբողջությամբ պաշտպանում ու երաշխավորում է ներդրումներն օրենքով։ Հայաստանում ներկայումս գործում են առևտրային ազատական ռեժիմներ, աշխատուժը բավարար կրթված եւ որակավորված է, հարկային եւ մաքսային ռեժիմը բարենպաստ է, արտահանումը չի հարկվում, չկա քանակական առևտրային որևէ սահմանափակում, ներմուծվող, արտահանվող եւ տեղական արտադրանքի արտոնագրեր հարկավոր են միայն առողջապահական, անվտանգության եւ շրջակա միջավայրի պահպանության համար։ Հարկ է ընդգծել նաեւ, որ այսօր մենք ստեղծել ենք արտահանման ներուժ ունեցող ոլորտներում ներդրումները խթանելու գործուն համակարգ։ Այս ուղղությամբ կառավարության կարևոր նախաձեռնություններից է նաև ազատ տնտեսական գոտիների հիմնումը։ Ազատ տնտեսական գոտու շահագործողներն ազատվում են շահութահարկի, ավելացված արժեքի հարկի, գույքահարկի եւ մաքսատուրքի վճարման պարտավորություններից։ Իսկ գոտում պետական մարմինների կողմից ծառայությունները մատուցվում են մեկ պատուհան սկզբունքով։ Հայաստանը ներկայումս օգտվում է Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգների, Կանադայի, Շվեյցարիայի, Ճապոնիայի եւ Նորվեգիայի արտոնությունների ընդհանրացված համակարգերից (GSP) համակարգից եւ ընդգրկված է Եվրոպական միության կողմից տրամադրվող արտոնությունների ընդհանրացված համալրված համակարգ GSP+ առևտրային ռեժիմից օգտվող երկրների ցանկում, ինչը լուրջ խթան է հայկական արտադրողների համար, ապահովելով օրինակ Եվրոպական միության պարագայում շուրջ 6400 հայկական ապրանքների մուտքը վերոնշյալ շուկաներ արտոնյալ, իսկ առանձին դեպքերում եւ հիմնականում զրոյական ներմուծման մաքսատուրքերով։ 2015 թվականից Հայաստանը անդամակցեց նաեւ Եվրասիական տնտեսական միությանը, որի արդյունքում այսօր Հայաստանն անարգել մուտք ունի Եվրասիական տնտեսական միություն եւ հումքի անմաքս ներմուծման իրավունք այս բոլոր երկրներից։ Հայաստանի ինտեգրումը Եվրասիական տնտեսական միությանը նոր հեռանկարներ է բացում նաեւ օտարերկրյա ներդրողների համար, որոնք Հայաստանի տնտեսական տարածքով կարող են ավելի դյուրացված կարգով դուրս գալ շուրջ 180 միլիոն սպառող ունեցող եվրասիական շուկա։ Բացի այդ, Հայաստանն առաջատարն է ԱՊՀ երկրների շարքում տնտեսության ազատության եւ գործարարությամբ զբաղվելու ցուցանիշներով։ Դրա մասին են վկայում միջազգային հեղինակավոր կառույցների կողմից իրականացվող բազմաթիվ վարկանիշները։ Որպես օրինակ նշենք, Ամերիկյան Heritage Foundation կազմակերպության տնտեսական ազատության ինդեքս 2016 զեկույցի ներդրումների ազատություն բաղադրիչով Հայաստանը գրանցել է աճ, նշված բաղադրիչով զբաղեցնելով 23-րդ տեղը 186 երկրների շարքում։ Համաշխարհային բանկի գործարարությամբ զբաղվելու ինդեքս 2016 զեկույցի համաձայն Հայաստանը գրանցել է աճ նախորդ տարվա համեմատ 45-ից զբաղեցնելով 35-րդ տեղը 189 երկրների շարքում։ Հայաստանի տնտեսության տարածքային համաչափ զարգացման, օտարերկրյա ներդրումների ներգրավման, Հայաստանում գիտելիքահենք տնտեսության կայացման, տնտեսության ընդհանուր մրցունակության եւ արտադրողականության բարձրացման տեսանկյունից մեծապես կարևորում է տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտի զարգացումը, որը գրանցել է եւ շարունակում է գրանցել աննախադեպ տեմպերով աճ, տարեկան միջինում 20%, շնորհիվ պետական ու նաև մասնավոր հատվածների միջև ձևավորված արդյունավետ համագործակցության։ Հայաստանի կառավարությունը ապագայում Հայաստանը տեսնում է որպես առաջատար նորարարական ու տեխնոլոգիական ոլորտ ունեցող երկիր, որն առաջարկում է տեղական և միջազգային շուկաներում մրցունակ արտադրանք։ Հիմք ընդունելով ոլորտում պետություն մասնավոր համագործակցության սկզբունքով իրականացվող նոր նախաձեռնությունները, կառավարությունը մեծապես կարևորում է վերազգային կազմակերպությունների հետ համատեղ իրականացվող ծրագրերը, որոնք հնարավորություն են ընձեռում ապահովելու նորագույն փորձի և գիտելիքների մուտքը Հայաստան և համաշխարհային շուկաներ։ Նշված հանգամանքը շատ կարևոր է, քանի որ Հայաստանը մեծ ուշադրություն է դարձնում տեխնոլոգիական նորարար լուծումների մշակման ինչպես տարածաշրջանի, այնպես էլ աշխարհի այլ երկրների համար։ Միևնույն ժամանակ կարևորում ենք պետական և մասնավոր հատվածների համագործակցության սկզբունքով տեխնոլոգիական և կրթական լաբորատորիաների, տվյալների կենտրոնների ձևավորումը Հայաստանում, ինչը թույլ կտա բարձրացնել տեղեկատվության և հեռահաղորդակցության ոլորտում գործող հայկական կազմակերպությունների մրցունակությունը, հնարավորություն կընձեռի տարածաշրջանի այլ երկրներին օգտվելու Հայաստանի կրթական ու արտադրական ենթակառուցվածքներից և առաջարկվող լուծումներից։ Հայաստանը ներկայումս տեխնոլոգիական ներուժի և հնարավորությունների երկիր է, ժամանակակից երկիր, կրթված, աշխատասեր մարդկային կապիտալով, բազմաթիվ երկրների հետ համագործակցության ձևաչափերով և մարդկային կապիտալի մեջ իրականացվող ներդրումներով գիտելիքահենք տնտեսության կայացման կարևորագույն նախապայմաններ ձևավորող երկիր։ Այս տեսանկյունից տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտում նոր ընկերությունների և աշխատատեղերի ստեղծման աջակցելու նպատակով 2014 թվականից ընդունվեց և գործում է տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտի պետական աջակցության մասին օրենքը, որով սահմանված կարգով այս ոլորտի հավաստագրված սկսնակ ընկերություններին տրամադրվում են հարկային արտոնություններ, մասնավորապես շահութահարկի գծով 0 դրույքաչափ է կիրառվում, եկամտային հարկի գծով 10% դրույքաչափ։ Արտոնությունների տրամադրման արդյունքում ընդամենը այս կարճ ժամանակահատվածում հավաստագրվել են ոլորտի 105 սկսնակ ընկերություններ, որոնց կողմից ստեղծվել են շուրջ 500 նոր աշխատատեղեր։ Նշված արտոնությունները ևս կարևոր խթան են հանդիսանում ոլորտում նոր ներդրումների ներգրավելու և նախաձեռնությունների իրականացնելու համար։ Կառավարությունը և Հանրապետության նախագահը այսուհետ ևս հետևողական է լինելու տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաների ոլորտի զարգացման քաղաքականության շարունակության ապահովման հարցում։ Հարգելի գործընկերներ, հույս ունենք, որ կառավարության և մասնավոր հատվածի համատեղ ջանքերով անցկացվող այս ֆորումը նույնպես լավագույն հնարավորությունն է Հայաստանում նոր ներդրումների ներգրավելու, սկսնակ ընկերություններին աջակցելու, գործարար կապեր հաստատելու և նոր ծրագրեր իրականացնելու համար։ Եվ որպես ոլորտի պատասխանատու գերատեսչության ղեկավար, այս պատասխանատու ամբիոնից ուզում եմ մեկ կարևոր հայտարարություն ևս անել։ Մենք կարևորում ենք մասնավորի հետ համագործակցությունը և առաջարկում ենք, որպեսզի ոլորտի պատասխանատու գերատեսչության մանդատով օժտված մասնավոր հատվածի ցանկացած կազմակերպություն հանդես գա ներդրումային կոնկրետ ծրագրով և աշխարհի տարբեր երկրներում իրականացնի ներկայացուցչական և Հայաստանի տեղեկատվական տեխնոլոգիաները ներկայացնելու ու Հայաստանում ներդրումներ ներգրավելու առաջարկ, ծրագիր ներկայացնի։ Եվ մենք պատրաստ ենք տրամադրել ցանկացած այդպիսի կազմակերպության նման հնարավորություն։ Օգտվեք այս հնարավորությունից, միասին կարողանանք ձևավորել նաև պետություն մասնավոր ակտիվ համագործակցություն։ Հարգելի բարեկամներ, ամփոփելով խոսքս, պետք է կրկին անգամ շնորհակալություն հայտնեմ կազմակերպիչներին այս միջոցառումը կազմակերպելու համար, վստահ լինելով, որ մենք կարձանագրենք այս պահի դրությամբ ձեռքբերումները, կնախանշենք մեր ապագա անելիքները, վստահ լինելով, որ Հայաստանի կառավարությունը, Հայաստանի իշխանությունները և առհասարակ հայ ժողովուրդը ակնկալում է նաև այս ֆորումից նոր ձեռքբերումներ, նոր համաձայնագրեր, նոր մոտեցումներ, իշահ Հայաստանի տնտեսության զարգացման, իշահ Հայաստանի բարեկեցության աճին և իշահ մեր բոլորիս նպատակադրված դեպի տեխնոլոգիական նոր ժամանակաշրջանի նոր նվաճումների։ Շնորհակալություն։
Thank you, Mr. Minister. This was very interesting, exciting to see the growth, exciting to see the data that you provided, and also your welcome, your encouragement for the industry to have more presence in Armenia as we move forward. Thank you. Our second talk will be from Synopsys. Synopsys is one of the larger companies in Armenia. It has a presence for over a decade under its name, and one more decade before under its predecessors, four predecessors that were there throughout that past. Chifun Chan, the president of the company and the co-CEO, will be presenting the view of Synopsys in this regard. Chifun. Perfect.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming, and much welcome to the Armenian IT Forum. But especially, my name is Chifun Chan. I'm the president and co-CEO, and if you change my name to CYAN, I'm half Armenian. I have been going to Armenia in the last 12 years for maybe about 10 times. So I'm very happy to see all of you here, because usually when I see you, I'm very jet lagged. And today I have very
the
good
opposite.
sleep. It's the opposite. And I have to say, from my not too tired eye, you look a lot more handsome than I usually see you in Armenia. So thank you for coming to Synopsys. And my first big welcome is to our Minister of Economy. So thank you very much for coming to Synopsys. So welcome. I know he's dealing with the poor. Thank you for coming, because this is a 2-year-old building, and if you have a chance, it's very much made for engineering cooperation. That's why there are many large rooms and many small rooms. Before I start, I'd also like to first acknowledge a very distinguished panel. So thank you for taking the time to come to Synopsys. I really do appreciate it. So thank you. There are 4 other people from Synopsys I'd like to briefly acknowledge. First, of course, is your moderator host, Yervan. Yervan is a fellow at Synopsys, which is the highest technical honor that Synopsys can give to people. So there's Yervan, who represents us. The second is Yakum Kunko, who is over there. Raise your hand. He is the Yakum is the executive VP in charge of a very important business, IT, which has a majority of, we have a large group in Armenia. So he has many, many people in Armenia. And then not as Synopsys, but good friends, just want to acknowledge Tony, who is a friend and our landlord in Armenia. So Tony Moran has always been there. And I'm very happy to see someone who left Synopsys, but actually very instrumental in helping Synopsys and Armenia, who is Rich Goldman. He's sitting, Rich, where are you? Rich Goldman, who has spent a lot of time for Synopsys and for Armenia. So I really do appreciate all these people working. So today, I'd like to give you a little bit of idea of what Synopsys does, because many of you may know Synopsys, but unless you're a chip designer, many of you don't know us, except we are in Armenia. So if you will, I give you a little bit idea of our business, and then tell you a little bit of our experience from that about our global, because the title of this talk is, how do you have global IT company in Armenia, inside and outside? So I have about 4 or 5 foils, and which I'll go through. Is that okay?
Yes.
I noticed in the translation you have Armenia and English. I can speak in Chinese, but
We'll be stuck.
but there will be only about 2 people that understand me. But so I'll give it a try. So first, this is a very simple explanation of Synopsys. We are number 1 in EDA, which is electronic design automation. We are number 2 in IP. IP is all the different blocks you put on a chip. Number 1 is ARM, which is all in all your cell phone, and we have all the other IP. And if you count software company in the world, in the whole world that do software only, but not counting IBM or HP, where hardware and software. You count Microsoft, Oracle, SAP. We are ranked number 15 in software in the world. So that gives you a picture. On the thing, you can see that we are 10,362 Synopsys people. And I'm happy to see Mr. Minister saying we should have more startup, and especially technical startup, because we are a very engineering company. we have almost 7,000 R&D engineers, plus another 1,000 engineers that are helping customer design. So out of 10,000 people at Synopsys, we have 8,000 engineers. And out of the 8,000 engineers, I think we have about 4,000 who are master degree and about 1,000 who are PhD. So it's like a little university. That's why you see this is a kind of little bit university environment, a very technical and in Silicon Valley term, very nerdy company, a geek company. Uh, this is our 30th year as a company. I've been at Synopsys 26 years. We are today, last year we were $2.2 billion in overall revenue. And we should be growing at around, going to around 2.4 billion for this year when we're in Q3 right now. We are also a software company. We do EDA by helping most of our customer design. Almost every one of your cell phone or whichever one is our customer. But we're really also a software company because we have 400 million lines of code at Synopsys. 400 million lines of code is a very large code base. And on the last, you see, you might not know this, but Synopsys is the largest designer of USB design. Almost most of your USB in most of your PC, we design, we sell to a customer, they put in a cell phone or PC. And a lot of those work are done in Armenia. And all those are under our Yakum Kunko, who's our executive VP in charge of IP. So I won't go more into products, but if you are interested, I can talk for another 12 hours in very much detail, and I'm sure my team can help me with a lot of technical detail. But at this level, you kind of know we are in really three business. But before we address those three business, I'd like to give you a history of Synopsys in the M&A, because we have we are a company, if you look from 1993 to now, we are a company that have acquired 70 companies. So, and those 70 companies, some of them has acquired many other companies, right? So together, there are 70 other companies that have been acquired by these companies we acquired. So Synopsys is a company of about 150 companies together in all these 20 some 30 years in there. I think a big advantage is we have a very open mixed culture. And so even though I'm Chinese, we're a US company, we go to Armenia, we found the culture is very comfortable because we are very adaptable and Armenia is a very hardworking team and also a very welcoming team. So I do thank Armenian government for allowing us to invest in them. Specifically, since this is how we got globalized, we have 80 offices in many companies, many countries. When we decided in 2004 to go to Armenia, if you look on the chart, somewhere in the middle of 2004, I know it's hard to see, we went and acquired several company that was in Armenia. We acquired HBL, Monterey,
Later.
later, and later on we acquired, and those three companies we went to acquire because they have a footprint in Armenia. They have talent, they have footprint, and we knew we wanted to invest in Armenia, but we didn't know when to start. We're hiring one people, two people, three people. So we acquired three companies, and we started the company. And we're very excited about the outcome. And then 4 or 5 years later, you know, in 2000, around 2012, 11, we were the largest high-tech uh, R&D center in Armenia. The second largest in Armenia was Varaj. We didn't like being somebody so close to us, so we also acquired Varaj. So that's where Ivan comes in. So we're very happy. We now have a footprint in Armenia that's very large, and we will continue to invest there. We over there, we of course do the IT business, we have the Varaj business, which is a world-leading class in a lot of the IP. We have the manufacturing business, and it's also the center of our university program. We have many professors and students there that make our business in our educational material, and we send it to the rest of the world, including US, Russia, just all over the world, the material to give to many professors. So I would safely say that Armenia really is the teacher for us for the entire world. And I'd like to continue to get that investment. So thank you so much. So So that kind of tell you why. Hopefully, if you have more questions, again, I can talk much more about Armenian. Especially, I love your food, but but then I can tell you that really Synopsys is in three different business, and one of them is new one. Out of the 2.2 billion dollar that we have 1.5 billion in EDA. This is how people design. So almost every designer of any IC in the world will have used Synopsys product. So that's our number one. We're number one in that position, and it's 1.5 billion. We have a position, as I said, in IP, which is the USB, PCI, DDR, LPDDR, all kind of peripherals that you have on your cell phone or your PC. And we're number two in that business, and we have started that business more than 20 years ago. 2 years ago, we started a new business, and it is our software. That's why our line is called From Software to Silicon. 2 years ago, we start acquiring a company called Coverity and 4 or 5 other companies. And this specifically is to go for cybersecurity software. So because there's so many hacking in the world of banks, of cars, of financial institutions. And we have decided to invest in this area, and we today have about $100 million business in cybersecurity, which makes us very big. We have a position in US that's very strong. We have a position in Finland that work with the Finnish Defense Force, and actually, even when NATO does the cyber warfare, they use some of Synopsys product to monitor the threats everywhere else. This is a business because it's actually very close to some of our efforts in IP, because the peripheral is where the USB is where they come in, and also very close to a lot of our core strength, which is in EDA, which I mentioned to you earlier. We have about 400 million lines of code. So we are actually a very big software company. And so we are also subject to attack by hackers, right? So we are trying to protect ourselves and also try to sell some software on how to prevent attack. So if any of you are interested in cybersecurity, especially in protecting on open source software, we are very strong in this area. And in the last 3 months, we have signed an agreement with FDA, which is the Food Drug Administrator of United States, to say all medical devices will have to have some of these software from Synopsys or other to protect medical devices. We have signed an agreement with UL, which is Underwriters Lab, which is protect most of your plugs and everything else. In America is the electrical standard. They have many hardware standard, but no software standard. We have also signed an agreement with the Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE, to get the new standard, because many more cars are driverless car, and electronics will be very big. So I hope, Mr. Minister, when you are here today and driving, almost every day you see some car driving with no driver here, because we're next to Google. And I like to tell you, when I see a car without driver, I'd like to go in front and stop and speed up and stop and see if the car follows me. You see, I'm an engineer. I want to know how well they do. So please don't get in accident. Okay, so I'll conclude with Synopsys in Armenia and make some comment. We've been there since 2004. You can see that we have about Armenia now 642 employees there, with majority of technical. So if I say we have 7,000 R&D engineers, 6,000, because none of these are supporting customers, 6,000 engineers, almost 10% of our force is in Armenia. So when I say Armenia is important, we truly invest in Armenia and want to make sure that we could help you and you could help us, because we're dependent on you. It's one of the largest R&D center for Synopsys based on strategic product development. And from Yakim's team and other product team, it is a site that is very critical to many of our very important products. As I mentioned, Synopsys Armenia Education Department have a relationship with 5 different universities and graduate 80 graduate students annually, but the material go worldwide. Our community effort, we do a lot of tree planting. From the day we started, we said that we will plant at least one tree for one engineer in Armenia 1 year, at least one. So we've done a lot of, and then we've done a lot of charity. So I will summarize by saying, one, Synopsys Armenia is very important to Synopsys. We hope that we'll continue to contribute to Armenia, to the welfare of Armenia. I would say in the first 10 years that we were there, we have seen tremendous improvement in infrastructure. When I go there in 2004, the IT infrastructure of the bandwidth, the cost of the internet was very much below what was required by us. Now there's a much more support and much more competition in that area. So we're very happy in that. So for the first 10 years, we've been able to establish Synopsys in Armenia with a really good infrastructure. I would very much like to see the next 10 years that site become also a leader for the rest of the world in many of our sites. For that to happen, I think Mr. Minister's comment is very appropriate that you are encouraging more startup and more companies. Because one thing we do not have in Armenia, there is a um, requirement for many of our engineers to grow up is the lack of customers. Today, we do not have customers in Armenia. And without customers, engineers do not really sense where the market is and where the future is. With some customers, they know how to help those customers and how to help those customers build new products. The customer get better, we get better. So I would just conclude by saying, I think we are very much in line. If you can get more companies into Armenia, especially my customers, then I am very, very happy because we'll earn more money, but more importantly, the Armenian team for Synopsys will become even more important in Synopsys and may create products and directions that headquarter, even though we have a beautiful buildings, um, cannot really help because the most important in high tech is at the end, employees and people and customers. So just want to say thank you very much. Synopsys and Armenia, we have a close relationship and I want to continue a very close partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Chivun, for the insightful talk as well as your recommendations. I'm sure the government will also take advantage of those. Our next talk will be by Roger Strauch. Roger is the chairman of Roda Group. Roda Group is an investment firm for early stage capital investment. Roger has been involved in startups throughout his career. He has done multiple by himself successfully, and now he's helping new startups, especially in Armenia. Roger, floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's really nice to be here. Mr. Minister and Bagrat and Yerevan, thank you very much for once again giving me the opportunity to address my friends and colleagues in the IT community. In my comments that follow, I'm going to talk about my excitement at this particular time for the promise of IT in Armenia, not just in Armenia, but the global Armenian IT community. A little bit about what we can do to harness the full promise of our opportunity, and talk a little bit about the future of where I think IT opportunities will go for Armenia and the Armenian IT community. This is, I think we're at the beginning of a major inflection point for the global IT Armenian community. We have now the critical mass of talented human resources, a very cool working environment in Yerevan, for example, a very vibrant lifestyle. Chifun has been worried about the infrastructure to support business in Armenia, and I've been worried about coffee shops and restaurants and nice places to work, and it's really fabulous working environment. K through 12 education is excellent in Armenia. It's not as congested as it is in the Bay Area. We just opened up the Impact Hub, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a few moments. Another cool working environment. So I think that in terms of resources, we have a unique opportunity to create companies where it may make more sense to create a company in Armenia for pure business reasons than in Silicon Valley. And that is already happening. And that's a new point for the development of the Armenian IT business. The opportunities I'm speaking of are not just for startups, but we have a cool working environment and a nice place to work for larger companies like National Instruments and like Synopsys. Let me give you some statistics. We have about 15,000 employees in IT in the country right now, about 400 companies. We do about $500 million of revenue in this sector. It's a $10 billion GDP, so it's about 5%. The sector is growing about 12 to 15% a year. Some startups that are, some statistics that are close to my heart. We are doing about one startup a week right now. About 50% of the companies are under less than $1 million in revenue, and about 80% of the companies are less than 25 people in size. If you look at the employment in our companies, kind of interesting, about 40% of the key people in Armenian IT companies are female, and a very large fraction, of statistic I don't have, is that the female employees are also a much larger fraction of the middle management in Armenia than they are in Silicon Valley. In Armenia, we currently educate, we accept about 17,000 people a year into the university system. About 15%, 2,000 to 2,500 a year, are technical students. So math, physics, engineering, computer science, information technology, chemistry. So that number, 2,000 to 3,000, is sort of a little bit less than it takes to support a growing industry of 15,000 employees, growing at, say, 15% a year, if you also include the fact that you need more experienced management. So that's why we have more engineering positions, both entry level as well as middle level, and certainly executive level, than we do people to fill them in Armenia today. Polytech and Yerevan State and AUA and 4 or 5 others are doing a great job, but I'll give you some suggestions on how we can do a little bit better job. But we have more opportunities than we have people, and we have a fabulous environment, a very competitive environment for many kinds of startups in Armenia today. So that kind of characterizes what I would refer to as the kinetic energy of the IT ecosystem in Armenia. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about the potential energy. Something that the IMF does not take into consideration when it evaluates the economy of Armenia, for example, is the market value of companies. And if you look at companies like PixArt and BetConnect and Jumag and smaller startups like SoloLearn and many, many others, Teamables, we already have companies that in aggregate, on paper, are worth billions of dollars out of a $10 billion GDP already today. And so I would argue that this is already, on paper, we have a lot more work to realize, to harness the full value of these companies. Already today, the IT community is positioned to make a material impact in the country and in the global IT community as well. Diasporans can be quite negative about the future of Armenia. Not everybody, but there are some. They refer to corruption issues and free speech issues. But many of them talk about that without having a lot of engagement with the country. I see the IT community as an entirely parallel universe. And we really are unencumbered in how we pursue our work and create intellectual property. About 15 to 20% of the companies, the 400 companies, create their own intellectual property. And we're at this time where you can create intellectual property push buttons and distribute worldwide. We didn't have that opportunity 10, 15 years ago. That's what's happening with companies like Pixart and SolarLearn. And then there are infrastructure companies like BetConnect and services like Jumag. You can create world-class technology in Armenia, push buttons, and it gets worldwide distribution. This is an incredible opportunity for everybody in the world, and in Armenia, we are harnessing it now. Now there are issues. There are issues in that we are still learning in the Armenian high-tech community how to develop world-class business plans. Plans that investors like me believe are competitive on a world competitive basis. We're still learning how to characterize market opportunity, how to develop product strategy, how to develop product marketing and technology roadmaps that are world class and will convince investors that we know how to do a lot with a little. And our ability to simply communicate well, to talk to investors, to talk to partners, to attract employees with what we call, investor pitches, it needs to be improved and is improving. That's why you see Seed and other organizations quite successfully attract people to workshops that can help, that can encourage and educate and mentor people, so that mentor fellow IT professionals in how to communicate, how to develop better business plans. For those of you from Silicon Valley, you know that at Bucks we do a lot of investor pitches in Woodside, and a lot of us investors listen to pitches at breakfast or lunch there. In Armenia, we have Green Bean, we have Invino, we have Wine Republic. We also have wonderful places to listen to and give pitches. And baguette, and brioche, it goes on and on. Compared to 10 years ago, it's an enormous difference. Places to enjoy the life and to also conduct professional activities. In the education area, and I speak to Synopsys and National Instruments and other large companies, one thing we need to do is, just as we have to in America, it's not all about startups. We have a lot of great companies like the two represented on the panel today. It's great to work in Armenia and work for these companies, not just to do startups. In fact, one could argue that we're doing too many startups. But what we need to do is not lose sight of the fact that we need our people to continue to focus on basic science education. Yes, it's cool in college to learn how to do a startup. It's more important to be great at math and physics and chemistry and engineering and computer science than it is to know how to do a startup when you're 20 years old. We must not lose sight of that focus. When I was a graduate student at Stanford, I had teachers from the local industry, professors from companies like Synopsys and National Instruments, who were my teachers. And that was a nice segue and a nice on-ramp to learning how to do, what it was like to also work for a company while I was learning basic information theory or statistical communications. So we need a greater level of engagement. In this country, we have co-op programs where students also work formally as part of their education for companies. We should have programs in Armenia where people are formally engaged with companies as undergraduates and get to work both in Armenia and maybe abroad as part of their formal engineering or technical education. We have a tremendous opportunity in Armenia right now. I have been working in Armenia for 16 years. As Yerevan said, I spend a month and a half to 2 months there a year. I live there part-time. I have a home there. And increasingly, I'm making investments in companies like Pixart. I'm very proud to be associated as an investor and as an advisor with Pixart and other companies. There has never been a better time, ever, than the time right now to consider starting companies, whether you're in Armenia or outside of Armenia, in Armenia, in Yerevan, Gyumri. Take advantage of the tremendous talent there and the tremendous economic opportunity. I hope that when I told you, which is true, that we now have billions of dollars of value that's being created in the IT industry, that will not encourage the minister to increase capital gains tax quite yet. But I can assure you that the community which I represent and I'm proud to be part of is at a really exciting point. I look forward to our progress in the years ahead. And thank you so much for your attention this morning.
Thank you, Roger. You have lots of experience there. This is very helpful to us. The next talk will be from PixArt. We heard the name of PixArt a couple of times already in the prior talks. PixArt is a newer company comparatively, but it's a startup that started in Armenia, and now it has a presence in Silicon Valley, in California. The person who will be representing PixArt with us today is Agram Derharutyunyan. Agram is the VP of products in the company. Prior to that, he has been VP of product at Vivo and elsewhere. He has been from Berkeley in terms of studies and Pepperdine. Please.
Hello, hello.
It works.
Is it working? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Government of Armenia. Thank you, Prime Minister. Honored to be here. And I think it's important to have these types of conversations to really help the economy of Armenia, especially in the tech industry. So I'll talk a little bit about PixArt. I don't have any presentations, but I'll give you a little bit of an overview of what PixArt is, how we got to the place we are, and how it is a recent success story. So quickly, in 2010, our CEO and founder, Hovhannes Avoyan, founded PixArt in Armenia. His daughter came to him and said, "Dad, I can't create anything on my mobile phone. There's nothing, there's no application." He said, "Well, I'll make it for you." So that's how PixArt was born. And he used his own money, his own development team, bootstrapped it, and got it to a place where when we raised money, it already had a massive gain. Massive user base. So where are we now, and what is PixArt? PixArt is a photo editor that allows anyone to express their creative identity, right? So there are things like Instagram, Snapchat, etc. But PixArt is unique in the sense that we allow anyone to come in, create wonderful pieces of art, and share it with the world, and really express their creative identity. So you can see it as a virtual art gallery, where everyone can be an artist. Anyone from a 14-year-old living in Italy to a 40-year-old living in Maine. And that's really the power. And right now we have over 75 million monthly active users using our apps on Android, iOS, Windows, and on the web, and with over 300 million downloads. So we're bigger than some countries, especially Armenia, with our global audience. We're backed by such big names as Sequoia Venture Partners, Inside Ventures. We've raised about $45 million, and we're growing day to day. We have over 200 people in Armenia at the TUMO Center in Armenia, and about 25 people in San Francisco, and growing day by day. I think it's important to note that we're kind of the reverse story. We're not outsourcing development to Armenia. The outsourcing came to the United States. And it's very important to note because if you look at a lot of the successful startups in America, a lot of those were founded by immigrants. And why is it that immigrants have founded these startups? Because immigrants have the drive, have more of the need to be successful in that innovation. I think we can create that in Armenia, and we have been creating it. And PixArt is one of those key success stories. So engineering, of course, that's one of the main areas, and the main area that about half of our workforce in Armenia, in Yerevan, is engineering. But we have another 100 people that are outside of engineering, and that's important to note as well. I think we have a huge opportunity in having unwavering, and I'm talking about unwavering support from the diaspora, from the government, from people within Armenia, especially parents, to really encourage their children to learn the sciences, learn engineering, but also allow for the area of creativity. You know, Armenians have been always artists, have been traders, and we have the skills, we have the culture to really be innovative in technology and create products that will have a global audience, right? And you ask yourself, well, it's just a mobile app. How can a mobile app really change the face and become a multi-million, potentially multi-billion-dollar company? It's because the industry is changing. Eyeballs are what is worth money now, right? Before it was people who control the dollar and who control the trade route. That's still important. Of course, people are never going to stop that. But trade is now being done virtually. Trade can be done anywhere, and it's important that Armenia become the hub of innovation, not only through technology but being innovative in terms of products. And I think Pixar is one of those success stories. We still have a long way to go to actually be a success, whether it be some sort of exit or something that really puts Armenia on the map. But I think having these examples and having unwavering support from the people, from the government, will really, really help us get to the next stage. So that's our 2 cents, and we're very, very excited to help the economy, to be in a hub, to be in Tumo Center, one of the great, I think, great success stories of Yerevan. And again, thank you to the government, and thank you for having us here today.
Next presentation will come from Knock Knock. Ramesh Kesamnapuli is the founder of Knock Knock. He has been involved with Armenia prior to this as well, when he was the CTO of Validity. He is in the domain of security, authentication, and we'll hear about his experience.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks to all. I don't have any slides, so I'm going to be talking freely. So I have a slightly different story to tell than gentleman from Pixar or Chief Wood from Synopsys. I have had a long association with Armenia since 2003. It started in a very interesting fashion where when I was running the products division and marketing business development at Phoenix Technologies, I had to do a project for Microsoft. Microsoft, as you know, it was a partner to us, not quite a customer. When we were doing that, a gentleman by name Karen Zelenko used to be my security architect. And we were trying to evaluate the project, and project cost came down to about $2 million. Then Karen said, why don't we do it in Armenia? So I think when we started that was not only a very innovative project, a new project, brand new, and the project was done in about $275,000, roughly about 1/10 of the cost. Not only we delivered stuff on time, the quality of the project is very, 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 very good. And it is not like conventional offshore development kind of projects where we package everything, specify everything, and shoot it off, and offshore gentlemen will do it and deliver. Those guys were mainstream within the team, designing, architecting, working with us. That's when I started my association with Armenia. Then after 3 years of doing that, then I went to Validity to take that company, which was not doing quite well at the time. And again, I called these guys who were there, and I absorbed the entire team. And again, they became part and parcel of the core team and did a fantastic job. Gaggy is the CEO of that company. And I took the entire team that I had for Phoenix Technologies, moved to this new company, and from writing BIOS and firmware code, suddenly they became writing code for chipsets then after that. And they became the security people again, doing all kinds of very complicated algorithms for me. Quite happy. People are very, very hardworking and extremely talented. Been very happy after working for that. And after that, then I had to do something else, which is called FIDO, which is in the domain of cybersecurity, which is now I'm the founder of both FIDO Alliance as well as Knock Knock Labs. FIDO Alliance is a new protocol that was written by me, FIDO. If you see the recent attacks on both infrastructure and as well as the online ecosystems like MasterCard, Visa, and Yahoo was compromised. And it was compromised. There were 600 million accounts have been compromised. And there is a Russian company which has harnessed close to 1.2 billion online accounts from US. And the history has taught us that any time when there is an attack, within 2 weeks, every financial institution in US get attacked by using those user IDs and passwords. So what FIDO protocol does is actually eliminates the passwords. Eliminates passwords completely and introduces a two-step authentication process where the user authenticates himself to the device then authenticates back to the service or server on the back end. So in essence, what happens is if you see conventional attacks where somebody attacks the server and then steals so many passwords, whether it is online consumer site or an enterprise, you don't have that problem anymore. The hackers who are going after servers and attacking, they don't have any motivation because they hack the server, they don't get much. The authentication is turned upside down. So FIDO Alliance formed based on those principles. Again, the team from Armenia was one of the initial teams for me, working with me in developing the protocol. Another gentleman, Larry Hattery, is here, who is now again doing a lot of business with Armenia, a different company. And the FIDO Alliance is about 275 companies now, including Microsoft, Google, Samsung, Intel, ARM, all financial institutions, MasterCard, Visa, Discover, American Express, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. And it's the FIDO Alliance FIDO protocol has been deployed by Microsoft. It is part and parcel of W3C now. It is a new protocol which will fix the conventional attacks that we are seeing on cyber, both on the infrastructure side as well as the user authentication side. And the alliance is going very fast. Microsoft is the president and the vice president. Google is another vice president for that. So I, again, had a terrific experience with Gagi, and I haven't seen any high-quality people being so loyal. And so, attrition I had all through these 15 years was very minimal. It's not like people who are leaving jobs and going somewhere else. That's another thing I really loved about Armenian resources that I've been using. And to rely on to what Chief One is saying and also Pixar gentleman is saying, Armenian government can do a lot to help itself from the standpoint of not only encouraging people becoming customers. Also, there are a lot of new open domains where Armenia is a country where 3 million people are there. It's almost like a self-pilot program. If you want to bring a new technology and new stuff, a nice little controlled environment, almost like Singapore. Government can actually take initiative and then test it there. Then plus the product comes together. Be a lot more. You'll be able to do a lot more for the country, working in tangent with the government, and you can really change the things around. And even the global population can benefit from such a stability and dependable and reliable resources like what we have in Armenia. So with that, I want to thank people from Armenia, and they continue to do work for me. They are part and parcel of Knock Knock Labs also. A lot of my work is being done there. And I can guarantee tell you, even the next ventures I'm going to do, I'm continually going to be depending on Armenia.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramesh. Appreciate to know about your experience. Next is Aram. In 2007, I met Aram in Yerevan. He was there to see how he can bring National Instruments, the service part, the customer service part of National Instruments, to Armenia, not to serve Armenia, but rather to serve an entire region from Asia to Europe. He succeeded in doing that, but he succeeded in doing other things as well in the past 10 years, in education, in startups, and so on. Aram, we're ready for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, it's been the 7th year that we're coming to ArmTech and IT Forum. And now it's happening that as though we are coming back to report on what we have been doing the last year. And I've been going through the slides that I've been presenting since 2007, and it's incredible what we have been, what we were able to achieve, meaning National Instruments in Armenia, and everything that was said today is just we experienced it. Everything great about Armenia and how we can do what we can do in Armenia, and so on and so forth. So, of course, the eternal question that we receive, why Armenia? It comes up again and again. And I think we have so many stories now to tell that there is no reason to ask that question. So what is possible in Armenia or in Yerevan? Again, the experience of national instruments I just shared with you. Again, in 2007, when we came to Armenia, this is the map of Yerevan. We took a look at the map, and we realized that in a radius of 30 minutes, you have access to 30 research institutes and 4 major universities, just in a radius of 30 minutes, where you can find domain expertise in almost every engineering and science application. And actually, this history of Armenian technology has been captured in 2 museums that have just opened in Yerevan, in the engineering city. One of them is the Museum of Science and Technology, where you can see pieces of the first Soviet computer that was built in Armenia, pieces of Nairi, pieces of Hrazdan, and the whole history of technology development in Armenia. And there's another museum in the same building, is the Museum of Space. And you will not believe it, the amount of technology and research that has been done in Armenia during the first years of the space program in the Soviet time. In the Mir station, the space station, it turned out that all the telescopes were made in Armenia. It turned out that 70% of all electronics were made in Armenia. So 2007, you can imagine we had just come to Armenia and we found out about all these things. And guess what? How our feelings were in 2007. This captures it exactly. We felt like a kid in the candy store. We had access to everything. Universities, research institutes, Academy of Science, universities, tradition, history, products, museums, culture, and so on and so forth. This was Armenia for us. And we started our journey in 2007 in the Enterprise Incubation Foundation. We rented a room, one room, it was that room. We were 3 people. Of course, we met with Bagrat, and Bagrat gave us all the conditions and environment to start growing there. In exactly 10 years, we had taken over the building. We pushed out pretty much every tenant from the building. And now we are some 250 people and 20 startup companies that have been operating around us. Pretty much in every engineering discipline, from embedded system design to communication system design to semiconductor test, smart machine control, condition monitoring, data logging, and so on and so forth. This is the name of the companies, and they're just keep growing. And this is when a couple of years ago, the engineering city idea came about, really to move to that city because we are running out of space. I think the plan is to have the city operating next year, actually, in 1 year's time, 2017. It should be operating. All these companies should move over there, and this is the view from the space. 7.5 acres of land to host 40 company buildings and an incubation building. I think once we start there, the quality of our work will just increase. And in that space, in that engineering city, there will be shared prototyping labs, shared production facilities, shared research labs, shared equipment, shared knowledge, shared library, a shared personnel. And we see that the engineering city should be able to host some 3,000 people in that space. So this means 3,000 jobs, actually. I'm gonna stop here a little bit and talk about something new that we started doing this year at the Yerevan Polytechnic, and this is world-class research. somebody said today about it's not just startups. It should start really from research, from university research. It's not just really 20-year-old creating some company. The real innovation really starts from university research. So this is the Polytechnic University, you know it. I believe it's one of the best universities in the world, and it has the potential to be the best. It has a world-class faculty. It has a world-class education labs. It has world-class research labs, and it has a world-class internship program. I think it's the best. We are able to do so many things in that Polytechnic. It's just unbelievable. Everything, every startup that you have seen, at least in our space, graduates from the Polytechnic. Every person who works at National Instruments, among the 250 people, they're graduates from the Polytechnic. Superb. Okay, now at ANEL, that's the Armenian National Engineering Labs that was put in place some 4 years ago. Now it has shifted completely to research. If you go to that site, you will see incredible research projects. And I want to talk about 2 research projects very briefly and finish with the presentation. 5G research. Every advanced university in the world has 5G research. This is 5G, it's the new network society that they're talking about. There's 5G research everywhere. Okay? Believe it or not, 5G research in the Yerevan Polytechnic. This is Professor Ayvazian. It turned out there is so much knowledge there. These guys with his students, they started the research some year ago. And incredible results. They went to a conference 2 weeks ago. They showed their experiment results, and now everybody wants to work with them from other universities in the world, from Europe, from the US. They want to do work with the professor because what he had come to was just incredible. I mean, this is university research. From this, really, innovation will start. So this is, I think, a new level of innovation that should start. So this is one example. The second example, automotive radar research. Today it was mentioned. Yeah. Everybody's talking about automotive radio, in Armenia too. Polytechnic University has all the equipment, all the labs to do radio, automotive radio research. And they have started. Basically, this is where you have a car, vehicle to vehicle recognition, vehicle to infrastructure, and driverless cars and so on. So it's all when the control is taken over by sensors and microcontrollers. Okay, guess what? Research started. Pretty advanced research, by the way. They have some results. They have prototyping. They have prototypes. They have software simulation. And they have some good results. They went out on the street. They already recognized a truck and a car with automotive radar. This is advanced research. Now, just from these 2 research topics, just for these 2, these are the different product ideas that will come out of it. I just quickly wrote them down. Can you imagine? If we can come up with all these products and bring them to the market with all the investment that we've been talking about, yes?
Exactly.
This is investment paradise. Guess what's going to happen? There will be an incredible number of new companies, really based on advanced research. And guess what's going to happen next? Bagrat, are you ready? The second engineering city. And this time, Bagrat, it will look like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Aram. As exciting as always. I'm sure you have many questions to ask to our speakers, and you'll have the chance to do that. Unfortunately, the time of the session is limited. We'll move to a coffee break, but during the coffee break, you'll be able to talk to our speakers, our distinguished presenters here, and you'll be able to interact with them directly. Okay? So I thank you for your attention, and I thank all our panelists for their extremely valuable talks.